Hello, hi there. Beautiful beings, welcome to Understanding Energy, part 2, where I share a few insights, facts, awarenesses, a teaching with you on the subject of soul. I want to start off saying, and I believe this is an important piece of information on the planet once more, now that we have activated the law of one. I want to start off saying that there is only one soul. There is only one soul consciousness. There is only one consciousness. And each one of us is a fractal, is a part, is an expression of that one soul. This is important so we can stop to compare soul journeys in a sort of competitive way. That we can stop saying, my journey is more important than yours, my soul knows and yours doesn't. You see, as we waken up, each one of us sort of wakes up on a different frequency vibration, and the perspective, the horizon that we look at or from, we look from onto anything really, any occurrence and situation in life, they differ, even though we are moving within the one law and as one consciousness. And as we wake up, it sadly or not sadly happens that we also, some of us, begin to like a sort of war of information. It's a big word, and I really feel and hope that we can overcome this, and I strongly believe that we are. But as we wake up, you know, we have access to more information, and this can be overwhelming sometimes, especially now that we're still in this bumping experience, as we're still anchoring in the highest consciousness, the God consciousness, into everything, the planet, our bodies, and so on, all the energies and manifestations. So, you know, it's a stairway to heaven. You know, you reach up to bring down very high information, and you have a happy moment, an enlightened moment, and then you kind of bump down into an integration moment where you might feel like you have not understood anything, or why am I back at the beginning? I thought I had understood and elevated my being. But this is just a spiral that we undergo. This is the road is still a bit bumpy. And so we have these awakened moments, and we start to talk and exchange information and say, this is not how I feel. And the other person says, but this is how I feel. And this, I feel the discourse is changing, the energy around exchanging information is changing. We really learn to no longer judge and think in an assessing, judgmental way about information, because information is information. We do not need to attach emotion to information. So this is a long-winded way, maybe just for you to take in this explanation that we are a part of that one soul, which is a wonderful way to be, always held, always in unity. And we are an expression, a unique expression of that one soul. So, soul we are. This is our innate. Soul reaches up into our highest existence just when we came out of the Godhead, is always connected into the Godhead, into the one source, into the one sound field, into the highest of the highest of the highest. And through our bodies, we anchor soul in to the earth. And soul exists in the 12 material density layers. So we have a lot of soul information always parallel that we can access, and that moves through us. I explained this a bit in the previous part 1 about the human makeup, how we are large fields of information, that we large libraries. Especially our auric field here in the body is the one library that affects us the most, and that we need to clear out routinely, 2-3 times a day, always, practically always keep it clear and pristine. And we do that through our thoughts, feelings, making sure, observing ourselves, making sure that either we don't think or we have pure thoughts. And as we clear out, we have less and less emotions. We stop attaching emotions to information. We find back to the clarity of the feeling heart. So soul is a complex field, light field, coded light coded into evolution, eternal, obviously, as it is part of God, source, God consciousness. So this should give you a little hint about how I could use the word powerful, but I want to use the word divine. Maybe even precious. What a force of light we are as soul. And now the word soul clarity comes up. Many of us are forgetful. We forgot that we are soul. Because at the front end, we meet every day, and in the mirror, we meet this personality that we create. And it happens many times a day that we forget that we are soul, that we can approach anything from our light, from a soul state, from a vast, eternal state of source light, which obviously changes our response to anything completely. When you know that you are eternal, when you know that you are light, that you are a huge transformation machine, that you can always lift anything, that you cannot disappear, that you cannot crumble in a sort of way that you can be done with. You know, it deeply, deeply changes and shifts the way you feel and think. Very much it actually slows down or releases or reduces the need to think. And the feeling becomes your heart portal, information that is not so much coming from you, but that is your guidance, your constant guidance from your team and your higher selves, which of course are you. Your higher selves are your soul aspects that stayed up, you know, in sort of the higher heavens, to make sure that you always have sort of a umbilical cord up to where you come from. So it is important to remember daily, always, ideally, that you are soul, that you are the highest light, that you are God consciousness, and that everything all these layers, or we're in the process of, all the veils are being removed at the moment. That's kind of what's going on into the next year. But that still means that a lot of information is flooded to the surface, and that can sometimes feel like a veil. Although it's really the opposite. It's transparency brought to us through data, through experience, that we then learn to distinguish from what we are. This data, this information is not what we are, and with what we are, I mean what we really are. And when I say real, then I mean eternally real. So we learn to distinguish, when we remember that we are soul, we learn to distinguish what we really are, what we eternally are, from the experiences that we choose, and the flow of information that we can let move through us and out, through our guidance, through our choices, through our intention, through the deep yes within, that we can move and act and speak from knowing and not knowledge, knowing. So to remember soul, to regain soul clarity, is what we want. Soul clarity is a little word, and it's a huge word at the same time. It really means that we reactivate the GSF codes. The GSF codes are very high cosmic consciousness codes. They mean God, sovereign, free. That's the definition of the first light and the last light. God, sovereign, free. We are currently, and this is my job, I came back as a very, very old soul, as a founder guardian, really. I was here at the very, 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 very beginning as a founder guardian, a Sophia Christus energy. I came back to make sure that the GSF is activated in everything: the land, the mother, the planet, and all the beings and energies that are connected to her. This is one of my main jobs. So now that we are on the planet, you all chose to be here in this auspicious moment. We are really here to bring these codes back into a physical, so the earth, the planet, can load itself up. We are the matrix. When we run the diamond code again, the GCF codes, then the planet can do it. And I'm talking about 144,144. It is our job, the guardian's job, to do this. So we're learning to remember soul again. We're learning to remember that we are light beings, coded into evolution, and that we have choice. Now, you often hear that we have free choice. And this is sort of important. We come here to figure out, many of us come here mainly to strengthen the soul light that we are, to go into this impossible, possible situation that we've had on Earth, where you touch upon so much density that it's just craziness to even volunteer to come here. But we are unbelievably strong beings. And we came in with this soul longing that drives us every day to bring our light in, to bring it, anchor it in wherever we can. And even if we have, moments where we forget everything and feel disorientated here in this reality, it's still what drives our soul. It's a deep, deep longing, and it's our force, it's our fortitude that we want to regain and strengthen and intensify. That's why most of us came to bring in our light, to remember that we are light no matter what. And by doing this, we sort of make a ton of points, on the cosmic agenda of things. It is a heavy, heavy, heavy job to be here right now. And it fortifies your true self, your real self, meaning your eternal self, meaning your soul light, immensely. So really do not be pulled down or feel put down by the surface imagery that runs, that there's an agenda on the planet that wants to compromise your clarity of soul. Just pay no heed, pay no attention. You don't need to look there, look within, power yourself up, connect to your soul. And we will do in the practice part, we will do a fun practice where you can actually meet soul. We meet with your soul. I mean, soul is an energy. You in the body can meet your own soul. That's the fun bit of the cosmos. Cosmic consciousness is relatively complexly built, but it's also fun because you can always meet parts of it. They can reflect each other, the mirror effect and the ability, the possibility to meet aspects of yourself. So you can learn from them. It's multidimensional, the cosmos, that it truly, truly is. And it is something you experience every day, and you can more and more consciously choose to work with in all sorts of situations to fortify your inner stability, your inner platform, your inner knowing, your inner game plan for yourself, your inner light, joy, essence. So clarity is what we want to have. And how do we get it? Well, an important part is the electromagnetic clearing of your auric field. You see, when we're in the body, our soul, of course, has traveled before you came here for the first time. And many of us have been here not just thousands of times, millions of times, billions of times, eons and eons. But if put into percentage, it is quite likely that you traveled elsewhere through the omniverse. If you would split that up, we could say that about 80% you've traveled and gained experiences as light with shadow to strengthen yourself. It's about 80%. 80% you've done that elsewhere, and about 20% you've been doing it here on Earth in a human space suit or skin suit. And you've not started off here. You've heard me say this before. We cannot start off here because this is the densest planet in the entire omniverse. This is the most adversary, how can you say, in a way, toxic planet there is. We are changing this now. We are trying to transform it. It's a process. We've been doing it since 2012 when the planet went 5D. And now we're kind of purifying, our vessels. And therefore, as we do this, we can properly load up the matrix again in the matrix of the planet. This is our job. This is how it's done. As we clarify our old data, beliefs, a ton of restrictions and limitations we have accepted and reinforced. We're clearing until we are the diamond crystalline state once more, and the light can really move through us with ease and break into the higher rainbow. You know, this is the rainbow planet, and the omniverse needs the colors of this rainbow. There's so much to say about this planet, how it's set up, and the suns and moons around it. And we'll do this in the third part, at least some of it. So how to clear? Now you come here, and of course you bring all that information from 80% of traveling elsewhere, 20% of lives here. Maybe you're a very young soul, probably, who knows, but many of us are old souls that are currently clearing for the new souls. Some are bridge souls, you know, who already hold the new DNA that will be activated next year, 2027, even more so, mainly really in 2027. But many old souls were called back in because they are the founder guardians to hold that enormous vision, hold the game plan, hold the cosmic plan, hold the divine plan in their fields, and let everything find its place within that. Be a witness. And no matter whether old or young soul, to go into soul clarity, really remember your soul drive, your soul longing. In a way, your everyday happiness in this. We need to clear auric fields all the time. So I do auric field clearing in every meditation or planetary work session that I give, to teach people how to do it. It's essential that we know how to clear ourselves. It is almost one of the main teachings that I share with people, is how to clear your own auric fields, how to clear your crystalline light column, and how to clear your chakras. And then go on from there into the planet, into the collective, into specific areas of the collective reality. So many energy fields on the planet, in the planet, even more so maybe around the planet, everywhere, that needs clearing and uplifting and upgrading and upcoding. And an important aspect of the clearing, a lot of it you can learn to do yourself through inner scanning, using and activating your inner eye to connect with you, not just your, one could say the light body closest to your physical. You know, you can check your cells, your organs, and your chakra centers, and then learn to read older fields, soul history, learn to read your akashics. This is a matter of training. And then the other point that is important to mention, that of course we never are alone. And I want to say this from the deep, deep, deep and old soul heart that I am. You are being seen. You are being recognized. We know where you live. But this is not a threat in a good way. So you never walk alone. Your team, and we have a lot of crystalline teams around us right now, protector teams, guardian teams, that inspire us to become crystalline, to just hold that very high frequency for us, so we can constantly just access it quicker. It's like they're supporting our cell memory and clearing out. So always make it a point of calling your team, your mentors, your higher guides, the highest guides you can reach. And you can just put that into words. I'm calling in the highest guides to clear out my vessel to clear out my organs, to clear out my auric field, my brilliant crystalline light column that I am, my soul connections, my soul levels, my soul density, 12 material density planes, and so on. I work with overseer beings, with creator beings, with master souls. From habit, that's just where I come from a very, very, very old master consciousness. And they take us up, really high up, above the universes and up. Sometimes so far up that the vessel here needs a moment to adapt the breathing to it, but of course we can do it. Absolutely. It is, we can go anywhere with our breath, anywhere, absolutely no limit. Using our breath, we can travel wherever we want to go. So I work with these beings, overseer beings, high level creator beings, and they upgrade constantly. So as I'm pushing up into my crystalline diamond heart completely, they push up with me and they show me new places and new ways and invite not just me, but anyone I work with. And this happens routinely in our planetary work sessions, that they come in and they lift us up and they reach through our auric fields into the collective, and then we do planetary grid work. Another job of mine, the most important job, is the diamondizing, turning the grid, planetary grid work, mending it, optimizing it, or bringing it back into its diamondized state, the diamond grid, the planet. Highest God consciousness being activated and integrated back into the planet through our vessels. So there's many levels that we can do clearing, and it is certainly our responsibility to sit when we feel that our mental goes down, that our feeling state goes down. Go and sit somewhere in silence. Go inwards. Check with your inner eye whether everything's still crystalline within you or whether there's density. Go in, take it out, or command your team or your mighty I am presence. Command them to take out anything that's clouded or painful. And it happens within seconds. With the more and more training you have, it goes faster and faster, the more and more clutter you have released. And these creator beings, higher level technicians, they have a level of light authority which creates a speed that is hard to match when you're in the body. I think it's impossible. Obviously, that's why we go up, they take us up, they take our data up, they take our souls, in a way you could say, they go into our soul light, of course, into our akashics, and they start to scan and look and find. And this is another piece of information that might be interesting to you, that every bit of software that you hold, every experience that you've had, be it on the planet or somewhere else, has its own code. There's ownership. There's ownership to experience. It is yours. Own it, as we often say here on the planet. Own your experience. And on an energetic level, every experience has a vibrational imprint, a code that is unique. And what these high-level technicians do, they go through all your data within minutes from the beginning of your soul journey, and they go and find distortion in your electromagnetics. They find what needs repairing. And then they renegotiate it with all the energies that are co-owners in a certain way or own their angle of experience or angle of experience that created your experience. I mean, experience involve other energies, don't they? So there is ownership to your experience from your perspective, but then there were others involved in your experience and they hold ownership too. So when these high-level light authorities, these technicians go in order to heal, transmute distorted data, density, they have to renegotiate this with everyone that was involved, with all the energies that were involved. But they do that within seconds. And so they can go into the really deep data sets, into the akashics really quickly and can dissolve this, renegotiate it, transmute it, heal it, done. And you come out of this session changed in a way that something has been dissolved that held you back from being your pure or your full God consciousness soul light. And as this is removed, you can call it a blockage, a veil, a wound. Your thinking changes. It becomes lighter, more positive. It changes from within. It changes because your light is more present. And light is not thinking. Light is essence, God essence, deep knowing, existential, complete presence. When that can be more undisturbed, let's say, you feel less need to assess, create distortion in the one field of consciousness, which is just harmony and oneness. And you relax. And from out that relaxation, you enact life, you create your reality with more lightness and joy. So there's many ways to keep or clear out, in a way, to make sure that the full fortitude of your soul light and your soul longing to be light and bring light can flourish. And when I work with someone, I check all these different possibilities and I try to figure out what happened. Very much like the creator beings I work with. What happened? When did it happen? Can we just clear it like this? Or do we need to go into another state of create another setting where we can go into a higher level of existence, another dimension, another frequency to understand. So I've said a lot about soul, the soul longing that drives us. And here I'd like to tell you a little story about a discussion or I almost want to say dispute I had with a client over several sessions, where she said we are not soul, there is only one soul, and because there's only one soul, there cannot be, we should not want things. And I felt inclined to agree, yes, there is only one consciousness, one soul, one force, one God, force, source. Nonetheless, we are unique expressions. This one field wants to experience itself through us. That's his entire joy. So we are unique on unique journeys, still bound in oneness to the same laws, the universal laws that we cannot work around. They apply to anyone. But there is something like soul longing, and soul longing is not about outer appreciation, possession, competition. It does not hold any sort of separation, therefore doesn't hold fear, therefore doesn't want to be better than, therefore has no need of any sort of survival struggle, because soul longing comes directly from the Godhead and knows that it is eternal. So there is soul longing, but it does not come from the mind or a wound, a programming that wants to make up for lack. Soul longing comes out of abundance, the knowing that abundance is, and that our incarnate souls, or souls that choose to make a body, we chose with that choice to come here. We chose the first purpose, namely to be here as light and to anchor in our light, the eternal light, the soul light that we are. This is pure, this is innocent, this is therefore powerful, uncorruptible longing. So yeah, there was that discussion, and we could not really, it was beautiful because we just came in from these two angles and exchanged and let it be what it was. But I just want to make a little point here of the difference between soul longing and mortal longing, a being that believes in its death and has death codes activated still longs differently and for different experiences than soul. That's also connected to, I believe, and I see that in my sessions, that many of us have a certain that soul clarity does not always easily express through the heart, because we let our mind train ourselves to let our mind speak first. So then when information comes through, clarity, soul clarity information, we immediately give it to the mind, who starts to negotiate it and doubt it and assess it and distort it. And then we believe that that our heart does not know. You might have heard this. I don't know, but check your heart. My heart does not know. That is not true. Your heart is a portal for cosmic soul information and information of other guidance, pure guidance from your teams around you. Your heart is not emotion. That's the human mortal heart, but that's not what I'm talking about. That's your programming speaking. That's your mind being given more than it can take. You have clarity in your heart, and it's the clarity of your higher selves, the clarity of your soul selves. But we need to learn to unpack this again, because we clustered it up with this automatism to give information right away to the head, and then to cluster emotion onto information instead of just listening without jumping into action or any sort of response, but to just listen to the soul clarity. The thing is, many of us have built up layers, veils around the heart, around the portal where soul clarity comes through. And this became an energetic, like a false skin layer, almost like a veil, we learn to self-veil our own truth. And with own truth, I mean our innate speaking. And this is what we have to unlearn, you know. It's time to train ourselves again into clarity of information, of a feeling state that is pure, that is not given to this. This is no longer, it's not the age of linear logic anymore. We're done with that. We have to powerfully train back our master selves, which are always connected to higher teams, to our soul selves, to our higher selves, to God source, the divine plan. From here, you know, your longing, your drive can speak. And let it speak loudly, unafraid. And then sit down and draw it up, write it up, and then take it for a walk. And then maybe spin it with a friend over a coffee or a tea. And then gradually go into action. Action is important on the planet, very important. But not if it comes from a mental ideation of what should happen, you know. No. The information is here, coming through from soul. And let's see. Yeah, I think I've covered most of my points. It's always interesting to hear your questions and responses in the live workshop in a week's time. I think that's pretty much it about soul clarity, soul wounding that can show and that we can renegotiate. I do it with these high-level creator beings because their speed, they have the right speed. We don't need to, we cannot mentally assess it. That's anyway impossible. We can, that's what we have these teams for, that do not sit in the body, as well as our higher selves that are not in the body. So they have a much higher speed, as it is natural when we leave the more dense planetary layers of Earth. And every uplift that we experience is a sacred moment. Every time that full source light, which is our soul light, can push through in a burst, in a laughter, just as is, it is sacred. It reminds us of how light life is, how divine we are, that we are the ones who anchor in these lives that we all dream of. We are the ones as souls. Okay, I leave it at that. And that was part 2 of Understanding Energy, the classroom of the Cosmic School. And I thank you very much that you are here in the body, doing your powerful work for the planet, because you know this life is not about you. And I mean it in the best of ways, because you are oneness, you are the ocean and the drop, because you lift everything up into the highest frequency, perspective, and creation. This is a miracle planet, and I thank you for that.